Why is it that every time the paranormal shows up in our culture, it's painted as evil, dangerous, or horrifying? Think about it. Every time we watch a ghost movie, we hear stories about exorcisms, even church sermons. And look at all those TikTok jump scare videos. The message is always the same: fear, be afraid of the paranormal. The ghosts are coming to get you. They're all demons out for you. But what if that fear is not the truth? What if that fear is actually a weapon of control and manipulation? Today, we're going to strip away that weapon, expose those who profit from it, and reveal the wonder and beauty of the paranormal that's been hidden from you. Think about it. Every culture on this planet, going back to the dawn of civilization, even before, back into the Neolithic times, humans lived with the spirits. I'm very familiar with the Norse tradition. And when we look back at the Norse lifestyle, they knew they lived in a paranormal world. They shared the world with land spirits, spirits of the air, spirits of the field, of the stone, of the water. They knew the ancestors walked among them, that they can commune with them, communicate, get advice from them. They knew that there were spirits still wandering, that were lost and stuck, that there were gods, there were elves, there were dwarves. They were surrounded by spiritual beings. And sure, they were afraid of them sometimes, but it was a natural part of life. And that's been that way for eons before today's world. For me personally, I grew up in a haunted house. I grew up going to seances, getting psychic training. It was a little scary at first because I was trying to reconcile what I was seeing in horror movies. I've loved horror movies even since I was a little kid. And I was trying to reconcile these horror movies with what I was experiencing. It was scary at first, but then I'm like, no, this isn't the same thing. These spirits they were just around. They were curious. They were friendly. They gave advice, teachings. This was a natural world for me, even for my kids. My kids grew up around this. And when they moved out, they're adults now. They reached out and asked me and said, "Hey, Dad, how do we bring spirits into our home? Because it's so quiet. It's so empty here. We're not used to being in a home without spirits." So even for my kids growing up around the paranormal was perfectly normal. But let's contrast that. We look at all of the movies in Hollywood. We see the ghost hunter TV shows. We see the pulpit pounders, demons, demons, demons. And those celebrity demonologists, the Warrens and those such, they're all telling us that these aren't ghosts. That's not grandma coming by to say hi. That's a demon trying to take your soul. Watch out. Be scared. Be afraid. But hold on. For thousands of years, people weren't terrified of the paranormal. They revered it. They respected it. They loved it. It was a natural part of life. This fear that we're being fed is a new invention. And who's going to benefit from that? Well, of course, the churches, right? They're going to tell you shut down your paranormal abilities, shut off your psychic gifts, tune out anything that is not what the church tells you, that there are no ghosts, that they're all demons, and that you need an exorcism and a house blessing from a priest to get rid of these things. They are just so loaded with fear. Hollywood. Okay, I told you I love horror movies. These horror movies are fun. A ghost pounding on the wall, yelling, "Get out," and somebody goes flying across the room. That's hilarious to me. That's fun. But they're selling this fear because it sells. Same way with those ghost hunter shows, the paranormal investigator shows. How many times are they just all jumping and screaming at some weird bump or something falling randomly? And then there's like a spooky image coming up around that. It gets some ratings. So, of course, they're going to show you this scary stuff. Who's going to watch a ghost hunter show where, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'm just hanging out here. How you guys doing?" Nah, it's going to be boring. That's not going to get any ratings. And think about the TikTok videos, the Instagram videos where people are using a Ouija board and screaming and having a bad time. They're doing it for clicks, for clout, to become an influencer. Now, this I see all the time with my clients. They'll tell me that there's something wrong in the house. They know there's a ghost in the house. Sometimes the lights flicker. Sometimes they'll hear weird things or they'll get those goosebump feelings. And they're like, "I know there's a demon in the house. Please get rid of it. Please get rid of it. Please get rid of it." This happens so many times that, like, I had a specific client recently. She told me something scary was in the house. She could feel it. She would be laying in bed at night. She would feel something there. And sometimes she could almost see it, that something was there. And she was deathly afraid of it. Why? Because of the pulpit pounders, because of Hollywood, because of all of those videos out there. And when we connected, when I was able to explore the house, talk with that spirit, it was just her grandma. Literally, it was just her grandma coming around to say, "Hey, how you doing?" Trying to keep those bonds of family and love going. And that's what fear does. It steals your connections. It blocks your gifts. It makes you dependent on somebody else's version of reality, somebody who is dependent upon your fear, your shutting your abilities down, you being compliant and obedient with what they're saying. And if you're hearing the same message from so many sources, it's impossible not to take it as the truth because that's all maybe you've been exposed to, and that's not your fault. I've lived with it my entire life. I've known so many other people that have lived with the paranormal their entire life. And all of us will tell you from direct personal experiences, all of that stuff in the media and the churches is wrong. But when you take away all of that fear, what's left? Remember, our ancestors saw the unseen as sacred. They were gifts, they were playful companions, guides, teachers. These were wonderful things. And we can still reconnect with that. We can bring the paranormal back into our world. You see, you're not just a spiritual being having a physical spirit experience. You are a spiritual being and you are a physical being. You're both. So is the room that you're in. So is the world around you. Mother Earth is a living being with a spirit. There is energy everywhere. There are entities, there are spirits, there are beings of all kinds all around us. They're everywhere. But when we're afraid of it, when we're listening only to that fear based narrative, we're shutting ourselves off. We're not embracing the beauty of the supernatural that's everywhere. There's a great example of this is I like to give public seances to teach people how to reconnect with the spirit, how to awaken their gifts, how to connect again. And there was a lady who came to seance, wanted to connect with her father. They didn't exactly have the best exchange before he died, and she had a lot of regrets. She was really feeling sad. The grief was hard. And a couple of years after her father died, she came to one of my seances and she really expected something somber, something very solemn. She was very sad, full of tears. Her father came through. I was able to describe him. She was like, "Yep, that's him. We had this connection." And then he started telling jokes. He started cracking jokes. People were laughing. And after a couple of jokes, she started laughing too. And she's like, "Yeah, that's him. One of the best things about him is he always had a sense of humor, no matter what was going on, no matter when stress would hit, no matter what was happening. He was always there to laugh with us." Why would he be different in the spirit world? He wasn't. He came back to raise the level of energy, to bring that humor in, to bring those happy messages. And that's the side of the paranormal that's been erased. The love, the joy, the wonder, our natural connection with the paranormal. And think about this. How much beauty have you been denied because somebody convinced you to be afraid? And you're not alone. The paranormal is not a horror show. It's a natural, normal part of who we are. The paranormal is normal. The supernatural is natural. It's who we are. But that fear is a cage. It's constraint. It's control. It's demanding your obedience, your shutdown of your natural state of a being, and it completely blocks your higher functioning mind because we're just afraid we can't think, we can't connect. But connection is a freedom. It is total freedom to be able to be fully human, spiritually and physically, to connect with that natural spiritual part of who you are, what our world is, and what even lies beyond this world. It's amazing. And if you are ready to reclaim those natural gifts, to step out of that fear and explore the paranormal as it was meant to be, then feel free, book a consultation with me. Let's talk about paranormal mentorship. Let's see if this paranormal mentoring program is right for you. And I'm going to ask you, are you ready to take that next step? If so, follow the link in the description, book a consultation, and you'll see a whole world opens up before you that maybe you didn't even realize it was there. Hell,